Hello, I'm back again to read another story with Reilly the Border Terrier and Mimi the pig who flew in from Chicago. And today we're going to read a book called Could Be Worse. Could Be Worse by James Stevenson. Could be worse. Look, there's a grandpa and a dog and a little girl. At Grandpa's house, things were always the same. Grandpa always had the same thing for breakfast, and every day he read the paper. Looks like he's having some marmalade on toast. And he always said the same thing. Could be worse. Grandpa, that awful dog ate this sofa cushion. Could be worse. No matter what, he always said the same thing. I got a splinter in my finger, Grandpa. Could be worse. He didn't even look out from behind the newspaper. My bike has a flat and my sneakers have a hole, and I lost my kite in the tree, Grandpa. Could be worse. One day, Mary Ann said, "How come Grandpa never says anything interesting?" "I guess it's because nothing interesting happens to him," said Louie. Next morning, at breakfast, Grandpa said something different. He said, "Guess what?" "What do you think, Mimi?" Grandpa said that there's something different. What do you think it could be? How about you, Reilly? Do you have any ideas what it could be? Let's keep reading and find out. Last night, when I was asleep, a large bird pulled me out of bed and took me for a long ride and dropped me in the mountains. I heard a noise. It was an abominable snowman with a huge snowball, which he threw at me. There's the noise, rumble, 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 rumble. I got stuck inside the snowball, which rolled down the mountain. It finally landed on the desert and began to melt. I walked across the desert. Suddenly, I heard footsteps coming nearer and nearer. A moment later, I got squished by a giant something or other. Before I could get up, I heard a strange noise. A giant blob of marmalade was coming toward me. It chased me across the desert until I crashed into something tall. It was sort of like an ostrich and very cross. It gave me a big kick. I went up into some storm clouds and almost got hit by lightning, fell out of the clouds, and landed in an ocean. I sank down about a mile to the bottom. I saw an enormous goldfish coming at me. I swam away as fast as I could and hid under a cup that had air in it. When I was safe, I crawled out. I started to walk, but my foot got stuck in the grip of a gigantic lobster. Uh-oh, Reilly. What do you and Mimi think is going to happen to Grandpa? Do you think he's going to escape? It's kind of scary to think of him trapped by a lobster. I didn't know what to do, but just then a big squid came along and squirted black ink all over the lobster. I escaped and hitched a ride on a sea turtle that was going to the top for a bit of sunshine. I was fortunate to find a piece of toast floating by, and I rode to shore where I discovered a newspaper. I quickly folded it into an airplane and flew across the sea and back home to bed. Well, that was good. It looks like Grandpa did make it home safely after all. Now, what do you think of that? There's Louie and Mary Ann and the dog all thinking. Could be worse. Well, that was the end of the story. You guys will have to come back again so that Reilly and Mimi and I can tell you another story. Now it's time for Reilly to go back to sleep and Mimi to fly back to Chicago.